See, everything's still pretty much moving to the northeast with these storms, and most of them moving about 40 to 45 miles per hour. Now, there's nothing of any consequence in central Kansas at this point in time, but as the evening goes on, yes, the individual storms are still moving to the northeast, but the whole area of storms is expected to slowly drift eastward through the nighttime hours. So we're talking well after midnight, but we could be looking at some significant, not necessarily tornadic, because our expectation is as the evening goes on and as the air kind of cools down a little bit, we'll lose some of the intensity of this thunderstorm activity, and there's a good possibility it could form more of these lines. If it does do that, and that's kind of been the expectation all day long, we would transition from the likelihood of tornadic activity to not even so much of a hail threat as a strong to damaging wind threat. But again, I'm talking about much later on tonight when the whole area of storms pushes on to the east and into the central part of our state. Again, that's still several hours away. Ross?
Romero, we've got some new information from the emergency manager from Gray County, and you'll be familiar if you live in this area. HH Road between 15th and 16th, power poles are down, lines across the road in Gray County. So don't try to go out and drive around to see where this thing's at, because we still think there's a tornado on the ground. Don't try to go out and assess damage for yourself. Let the crews get in and do the work that they need to do. Again, HH Road between 15th and 16th. This is in Gray County. Power poles are down, lines are across the road, obviously presenting another danger out there tonight. This is the storm responsible for the damage in Gray County. The circulation now very close to Ensign. We're going to zoom back in on this storm as we are now passing 7 o'clock this evening, still watching a storm that developed a tornado down near the Liberal area, and here we are now just about couple hours later, and the storm still producing some significant rotation. The tornado going to be very close to Ensign. It's almost an interesting situation here, looking at where the circulation lines up with respect to Ensign, but this thing looks like it's going to go right over town. Very, very close call here. Dodge City over on the right part of the screen, officially not in a tornado warning, but I want you to see the radar in motion, because based on the path that it's taking right now, I think it's going to stay to the west of Dodge City, but it may be a close call. So the new warning that gets drawn up, it may not include Dodge City, but areas to the west of there will likely be included in a tornado warning for a storm that has a long history of producing tornadoes now in portions of southwest Kansas. We're going to gather some quick information. Merrill, you've got something additional to add.
The tornado warning that's in effect until 7:30 for eastern Trego, northwestern Ellis, northeastern Ness County. We now have a report of a confirmed tornado located 3 miles north of Cedar Bluff. And on the map there's Cedar Bluff Reservoir, you can see to the southeast and south of Waukene, and the storm is moving right over Cedar Bluff Reservoir as we speak. And again, this is a confirmed tornado 3 miles north of the town of Cedar Bluff, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So this is again a very dangerous situation for the folks over the eastern sections of Trego County right now as that storm continues its march on to the northeast, and then eventually should move into the northwestern portions of Ellis County. Folks in the town of Ellis, probably a good idea, if you haven't already, take those tornado precautions as we speak. You want to go to the lowest level of the building that you are in, go to a smaller room as much in the center of the building. In other words, put as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible, and stay away from doors and windows, anything that could produce broken glass, flying glass. More people get injured by flying debris than anything else when it comes to tornadic activity, and that's what we've got right now. Again, a tornado confirmed 3 miles north of Cedar Bluff just about 5 minutes ago now, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So again, eastern sections of Trego County, northwestern sections of Ellis County, please take those tornado precautions right now. Ross?
And as we continue to get reports of tornadoes on the ground, we're also getting reports of damage too. We know we've had reports of damage out of Gray County. Just seeing some brand new information out of Sheridan County up near the Hoxie area. Power lines are down from the storm that produced a tornado near Grainfield earlier this evening. We watched that storm go east of Hoxie, and now getting reports of damage out of eastern Sheridan County. What we're looking at here is the storm that has passed very close to Ensign. We've had a couple chasers and spotters in this area still reporting a tornado with it. At last report, a stovepipe tornado. What does that mean? Well, basically it's the same width at the cloud base as it is down at the ground, so we obviously still have a fairly significant tornado underway here. This is straddling the Gray Ford County line right now. It has passed over Ensign, so if we've had any damage in the town of Ensign. We should know about it at any moment in time because now the circulation looks like it's north of town, continuing to move to the northeast. So we'll take the radar and go a little bit farther north so we can bring Dodge City into view, because no doubt a lot of concern, will the storm get there? And you know, I mentioned this a little while ago. Based on the way that the storm is tracking right now, I would expect that it's probably going to stay to the west of town, and that kind of goes along with what I'm seeing right now. So if you're in Dodge City, I think this storm is going to stay to the west of you, straddling the Gray-Ford County line right now, continuing to move to the north. We've got some live video still coming in from Ed O'Neill. You're not going to see a whole lot considering the time of night, but occasionally we will see some lightning being produced by these storms out here in southwest Kansas. We've got several different areas. Certainly the storm that Merrill was talking about producing a tornado near Cedar Bluff Reservoir. We still have a confirmed tornado with this storm back to the west of Dodge City, bringing you up to the current time. We'll switch over into the wind mode of the radar just to take a look at this as we analyze it live on the air. And there is a little hiccup there in the radar data from Dodge City, but there still appears to be enough rotation to keep the warning going. We've had several reports of a tornado on the ground, and as we bring in the debris here, not really seeing anything that stands out in a distinct manner, but there is still that possibility that a tornado could be on the ground doing damage. I'm just not seeing anything that stands out to me that we may be looking at any kind of debris being picked up by the tornado high enough in the air that the Dodge City Doppler radar could see it. But what we're looking at here, this is kind of interesting. We're only talking about a distance from the circulation to the Dodge City radar of about 14 miles. So the beam is hitting the storm low enough that if there is any kind of debris, we should be able to see it on Doppler radar because it's in close enough to Dodge City's radar that we would have a very good view of the storm. But you can see the hook that's showing up now north of Ensign, continuing to move to the north. This is going to stay to the west of Dodge City. But anybody in northwestern sections of Ford County, you should remain in your storm shelter as we continue to watch this extremely dangerous situation continuing tonight over portions of southwest Kansas. You can see there are other severe thunderstorm warnings back to the west of Garden City. Those are likely to be some quarter-size hail and maybe 60-mile-per-hour wind-producing storms. Our tornado warn storm is well in advance of any of that heavy rainfall that's back to the west. We're getting a lot of hail reports here. You can see the string of tornado reports that we've had in the wake of this storm now moving up toward the Dodge City radar. As you watch it over the last hour, still with that northeast movement of about 40 miles per hour, just another challenge for the chasers out there tonight, keeping up with these storms as they continue to move to the north and east. Just want to double check here some new information. Still with a reported tornado at 7:05. This coming in 3 miles to the northeast of Ensign. So that's the latest information that we have from the National Weather Service, is that there is still a tornado on the ground now 3 miles to the north of Ensign. So we zoom back in a little tighter on that storm, so you can see for yourself that little marker that pops up with the little tornado icon. That's the report that has just come in from the National Weather Service office out of Dodge City, and that's showing up now 3 miles to the north of Ensign. The live picture that you're seeing here in conjunction with the radar, that's our view from the Dodge City Capitol Federal Skycam pointed west. And that is the storm that we are watching. There's really not a whole lot going on around Dodge City right now outside of the tornado warn storm that we're tracking for you in western Ford County. But as it continues to move to the northeast, there is that possibility that we may see some additional reports of tornadoes. I understand that Roger and Melissa are still standing by with some additional information they can add on the storms that we're tracking tonight.
All right, thank you, Ross and Merrill. We do have some video of a tornado, one of the many tornadoes in western Kansas this afternoon and early this evening. This was a shot taken by Adam Weber. This is the tornado that went by Grainfield. You may have actually seen it live from our Skycam in Grainfield about 5:25 this afternoon. We do have reports of some power lines and trees, some outbuildings and sheds being damaged, but nothing as far as any major damage. And the very good news is no report of any injuries with these storms in western Kansas.
And we're seeing a lot of pictures coming out of this area tonight. This one is from Wilbur Beecham of Beecham Trucking LLC. He caught this along I-70 west of Grainfield. You know, just to quote Ross from earlier, these storms, he said, were quite impressive. You know, one part of the state we have blizzards, the next part we have tornado warnings. So just people capturing incredible images today. We also want to report some other damage that we know of at the moment. We know that again, the roof, the shed damage east of Grainfield, debris scattered across Gove County, and a hog farm hit in Seward County. And we want to send it over to Ross now. We understand he has more for us.
Yeah. Okay, and we continue with the tornado warning to the west of Dodge City. Storm Team 12 Storm Chaser Ed O'Neill is reporting from this location tonight.